Hi guys, apologies for being really super late back because I actually coloured the block when I was drying it. I realised that I didn't like the colour, the highlights totally weren't right. So this is the block I was cutting about an hour ago, and so I've actually tinted it. I actually tinted all the highlights out and I've just dried it and straightened it, and now I'm going to finish to refine this cut as well. So I'm just going to go through now and just do that so you can see this is what we've created so far. This really super flat shape through the back, you can see here as well, so it keeps it really nice and flat. We graduated through here, we did a flat layer through the back. I've got my disconnected shape that sits in the front. You can see these pieces here sort of coming through as well. Through the front, the sides were flat layered through either side. We then flat laid into the top, which then created the fringe section through here as well, and now we've got these disconnected panels which we're going to blend in as well. So whilst I actually talk to you a little bit about this, I'll talk about the quiz questions as well as we're going through. So I'm just going to go through now. I'm just going to check everything as we go along. So obviously you need to do a cross check first, which is really super important. So I'm just going to take this section here, I'm just going to elevate it out and check that everything is correct through, and make sure it's super smooth, super nice. So I'm just going to go through. Got some of the disconnection sections coming through there as well. I do have to be mindful that I don't touch those because that's where the disconnection is through there. We don't want to take those out. Now you could clip these away at this point, entirely up to you. I'm not going to choose to actually disconnect those sections in there. I'm just going to actually work through to create something really super soft and really blended. And it's just that flat layer technique that'll give you that really slimline bob through there as well. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to refine some of these sections just with some pointing, just to soften the shape as well, because we obviously have taken it on quite a strong line as well, but again that's entirely up to you how you choose to do that as well. So I'm just looking at this interior shape here as well again, and I'm just sort of really going through and just refining. You know, in terms of service time, you really sort of want to leave about 15 minutes, I always say, for your refinement stages. So when you're breaking it down, an hour appointment, 5 to 6 minutes consultation, 7 minutes for shampoo and conditioning, around about 30 minutes for your initial cut and blow dry, and then final 15 minutes for refinement as well. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of scissor over comb in there now as well. So I'm actually going to lift this right up. The client would actually be as high as he possibly could be in the chair at this point as well. I'd actually be working with the wide teeth of the comb. Just going to go through a couple of times just to make sure that hair is nice and combed, and then I'm just going to refine that shape. This is just to refine as well, it's not to alter or change as well. I'm happy with the length, although if I did want to take it shorter I'd have the option to do that. So it's just a scooping motion, and you'll see the scissors work in a very repetitive fashion through the section as well, and this will give you your blend. I'm maintaining a square shape, so the comb mimics the shape of the section, so it's not pivoting round the head, it's building up that squareness, so it's actually sitting in quite square. You can see square, it's not going round or round in there as well. I'm just working through, I'm just blending now through these sections as well. This live will be available for next 24 hours as well. So for those of you that are wanting to maybe do your head sheets, part of the head sheet assignment, and for the quizzes as well. Quiz questions, there's 5 questions on the quiz, it's on Pivot Point for Michael John learners. We talked about contemporary haircuts should only be for fashionable people. Well, that is definitely false, because contemporary haircuts can be for anybody. Then we're talking a little bit about designing haircuts for the individual wearer. That's where contemporary haircuts come into great. Classic haircuts are pre-designed haircuts. We already know those haircuts. But when it comes to a contemporary haircut, what we're actually doing is we're designing it for the individual wearer. And that's what we're really looking for. So again, it's actually just taking that and designing something for the individual wearer. So contemporary haircuts are designed for the individual wearer. That is question number 2. Question number 3 is when implementing disconnection, which we've got these disconnected panels here, we must take into account the final visual effect. Well, that's absolutely true. We don't just create disconnection for any reason. We actually look at implementing disconnection to actually create something that's interesting and iconic, and that's different as well. So these have been considered, and I'm going to show you how to blend them in a few moments once I finish the scissor over comb through the back. Can you randomly cut pieces in on a contemporary haircut? No, you can't. So that's false. This is on the quiz questions. It's got to be considered. You can't just, because you've created a haircut doesn't mean that you can just randomly cut pieces in. You've got to have a considered approach to it. And then finally, question number 5 is, should you promote the uniqueness of a contemporary haircut or a personally bespoke designed haircut? Absolutely, yes. That's definitely true. There's good hairdressers who do good haircuts. There's great hairdressers who design great haircuts for great clients. And this is what we're doing here. We're designing a haircut that's specific for an individual wearer. And that's what I'm looking at here. I'm actually creating something that's bespoke for a certain client. I'm just going through and I'm just going to scissor over comb this section through here because I want it a bit tighter. So again, what I'm doing here is now, even though I've designed a haircut for this, I'm going through and I'm really super refining it. And I'm just going to point into this section through here because I really want to create like a softness in this line. So again, just going through, just creating a softness through there. Through there, so yes. Chloe, I think you're watching. I got your message on Instagram. I'll look at getting you your answers. Apologies. Been a bit of a busy day. I've not got that far yet. Your day never ends at Michael John. Just keep going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny. Okay, so I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to keep refining the sections through until I feel happy to move on as well. Quite coarse, this hair that I'm cutting as well. It's been shampooed, it's been coloured, it's been straightened, you know. It's sort of getting towards the end of the life of this block as well, because she's been sort of through the mill really as well. And I'm just sort of really super refining the shape now. Really super refine it as well. And just go through and just very gently just go through and just refine it as well. You can point into the shape as well if you wish, but I tend not to do that. It's not really particularly to my taste. I like more structured looks, but if you was to point in, obviously it would be a very gentle technique I would recommend as well, but I recommend to stick to your structure first as well. So I'm just going to go through now. Okay, we're now working through to the sides. I'm going to start by working on my outline. 5 out of 5 on the quiz. Well done. Amazing. So I'm going to start working on the outline shape now so we can see. So we've got this outline. I'm going to carve this shape through as well. I'm going to take it and I'm going to create like a very structured shape through here. I'm going to scissor over comb this section a little bit tighter. Yay, Tracy and Chloe. Best students in the universe as well. Now what we're going to do is work through. You can see my line here. I'm going to tilt my comb to the line and I'm going to refine. A bit more difficult to do on a block because the skin doesn't stretch. So I'll have to keep going through. And you can see what I'm doing here is I'm connecting everything in even though this has got disconnection, I'm connecting it to the outline length. I'm just going to go back through and I'm going to super refine that shape. So I've got my line there, my comb's in, and then I'm just going to refine. Like so. I'm going to go through, keep refining. And again, I'm using you guys as my mirror now. You can see I've started to create that sort of line working through there as well. And we've got this disconnected section that sits over it as well. So we're going to blend all this in as well. It's going to be a little bit more of a shattered shape. I'm going to do the same on the opposite side, as you can see. So what we want to do is really tailor this through as well. I'm just going to blend this line here. I'm going to soften that out. You can see what you find is the edges are quite rough because obviously we did it on the interior. So what you want to do is just go through and just refine all the outline edge. So I've just gone through and refined that edge there. And then refine, finally, comb this down. I did have a little bit of difficulty with the growth pattern on the side of this block as well. It's been woven very strangely on this side, so it didn't sit right at all when I came to dry it as well. So I had to totally go back in and re-blow dry it through as well, just to make it behave. Sometimes you'll find that with certain blocks, they won't be woven right in certain places and it may just disrupt your overall movement. This side moves way different to this side as well. If you find that as well, what I find is a nozzle, and I actually work the nozzle down the actual hair. It's here, it's a huge bump. It sticks all the hair up and out. So sometimes with a blockhead, you've just got to work with it the best you can as well. I'm just going to assess the shape that I've created so far. Obviously we have these disconnected panels and we're going to work those through shortly. I'm just going to soften the shape at the sides here. So sometimes when you'll find it, the shape will be too square as well, so, because obviously we built a square shape. So all I'm going to do is just with a little bit of light scissor over combing, I'm going to blend that through, and now just with a little bit of pointing, I'm just going to soften this line up through here. Like so. And you can see that's just softened the edge a little bit as well. So I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. Like so as well. And that's going to really make that shape a lot softer as well. That's cool. Right, front. So you can see our flat layer from before created this fringe as well. I'm just going to adjust that, she's a bit high, even for me as well. So move her around a little bit. So as you can see before, we created this fringe by flat layering this shape, and I can demonstrate how this was flat layered. You'll see the flat layer coming through as well here. You'll then clearly see where the disconnection sits. I'm just going to have to lower her. Sorry, I'm not that tall, I'm afraid. If only I... Yeah. Here we go. So I'll just show you that again. That flat layer. This was the flat layer through the top. Flat to the head, flat to the head. But then we've got these disconnected panels, and you can clearly see them when I actually lift the hair up. You can clearly see that is the disconnection. So that's the flat layer. There's a flat layer underneath it, and then there's this disconnected panel that sits over the top of the section as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work the section through and I'm going to connect it to the outline. So I'm actually going to work from the point of the bob and I'm going to connect it through the fringe to create a totally round shape. Because I only want this disconnection to sit on the interior. I don't want it to actually sit outside the shape at all. So again, you'll notice how I move the block a lot. And I would actually be doing this with a client as well. If I was to cut a fringe so freehand over the face, I would be wearing the client would be wearing a face guard at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the hair. I can visually see where the eyes are. I'm working from the opposite side, and I'm going to start to carve the section through. So as you can see, what I'm doing is connecting everything through to create the shape of the fringe that I actually want. So this is creating the refinement stage now. Again, there would be a face guard on at this point. But she's a bit of a rebel, so she said I didn't need to today. But yeah, I'd be wearing a plastic face guard if I was to cut a fringe at this length, obviously because I'm cutting over the eye. So I'm just going to go to the opposite side. And then that's going to give me the shape that I'm creating. So what I've done, I've opened up the eye socket area, which then totally changes the shape. If we look before, this is what we created before, this is what we create after. So we're creating this really strong structured barb through here as well. But now we want to carry on through the opposite side as well. And what I'm going to do is I am actually going to shatter this shape as well, just to create something a little bit more textured as well. So I'm working through the shape. And again, just creating that shape there. I've got this final shape to connect through here, and then I can make a technical assessment of what I've created, and then I'll dust and polish it. So that would be the shape so far. And then again, just taking that through. Just assess what you've created so far. Obviously there's a little bit of dusting to do. And by that, it's little bits of hairs that don't reach the section when you actually cut them. So you go back over and just obviously carve your shape once more. And again, I'm just assessing the symmetry of the shape. She's moving. Please don't move. There we go. Move her hands around her neck as well. Okay, great. Yeah, so that's the shape we're creating for this look as well. So we've connected all of the outline. Then now the disconnection is just in the interior. I'll now show you how you can make this react to do different things if you choose to style it in a different way. But we're going to go through now, and I'm going to create a much more textured fringe. Yeah, excuse me. So I'm going to come over the top of the client. So this is when they'd go down like this. So you guys are only going to see it from the bottom of the screen because, well, I'm quite short, so so I have to have them quite down here. So I'm going to elevate this up and out, and I am actually going to point into this fringe because I do want to create a little bit more of a distressed texture. So I'm going to point deep into it on a parallel. So it's not on an angle, it's actually straight on. And what this will do, it won't remove any length, but it'll texture the edge. And it'll just soften it out slightly, because that's what I want to create, like a slightly softer look on the edges as well. And then again, the more you want, the lower you go. So if you want less, go higher. If you want more, go lower. But the lower you go, the more you risk of over-texturizing the fringe. So just be careful of that when you actually come to do any texturizing or any sort of pointing. And I'm not looking to recreate or reinvent the wheel here in terms of the texture. What I'm actually looking to do is create something that just customizes the effect for the client, really. That's what I'm actually looking to do. I'm looking to just sort of customize it and just sort of alter it and just make it very soft as well. Even though it's quite a structured haircut, as we can see. And I'll do some video for stories afterwards as well. So we've got some videos. Tomorrow we've got creative cutting. I'm thinking about doing a long look for that. Like really super creative as well. That's cool. I want something a bit more edgy as well. But again, because this is contemporary cutting, so I still want it to have a salon focus, you know. I want it to be something you'd see a salon, see a client wearing in a salon, you know, and I'm just going in and I'm just texturizing the edge. Again, a face guard would be worn at this point at all times. Plastic fringe guard as well, just to create that sort of really nice, kind of sort of really quite textured edge to the ends as well. So again, just going through and just really tailoring. This is just all tailoring. Imagine like you're making a suit or you're making a dress as well. That's what we're really sort of doing here. And we think, well, now I'm like putting the buttons on and I'm changing the lapel, and you know what I mean? Or you're putting that little bit around the waist or something like that. This is what tailoring a haircut is. It's actually just taking that time to think, you know what, I'm just going to change that bit, or I'm just going to point into that fringe, or I'm just going to sort of connect that through as well. Yeah, it's so cool. I actually love this. Almost like slight disturbed texture to it as well. Just working through there, just to really distress it slightly. Again, I can't stress enough, there would be a face guard on if I was working freehand as well onto the head, especially with such a long fringe, because it actually just touched the eyes. I'm just working around about this eye socket area. This eye socket area here is quite important because again, it will help to reveal the eyes and actually frame them as well. So again, you might want to consider the approach you take when detailing these sections as well. And again, what I've done is just revealed the eye socket there as well, which is lovely. Much more flattering than if, say, we was covering it too much. But again, you've got to design something that's specific and bespoke for your lady or gent. Depends what you're doing. Yeah, so I'm much more happy with that kind of cool sort of fringe look. I'm gonna lift her up a little bit. Here we go. It's cool. Yeah. Find this through a little bit more. And we're gonna come to. So as part of this week's little course, we've got quizzes on pivot point as well. We've also got a head sheet assignment that's to be done on Thursday or Friday. Actually, Friday, sorry. And you'll get a little in-house certificate, which is really great for your portfolio, I think, as well. So, again, I'm just going to go through and just make an assessment of what I've created. And I'm just going to refine. This, can you guys see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can see. That's great. And I'm just refining this side section in. Through. That's great. Same on the opposite side. Yeah, cool. That's great. Okay, so what are we going to do now is just underneath this disconnection, which I'm going to show you, is a layered shape. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to lift it up, I'm going to shake it, and what that'll do, it'll actually give me what I actually created underneath as well. And I'm going to soften all this out with pointing, and then I'm going to connect this into the front just to leave a little bit of it sort of connected in. And you'll see the options you get once you style it as well. Anyone got any questions, please shout as well. So I'm going to go through, I'm working over the top of the head. I'm taking these sections up and over. This is part of the disconnection. As you can see, this is the part here. And all I'm going to do is just parallel point cut through at a layering elevation, just to soften the inside of the shape. You can note there as well, obviously, my technique that I'm using for cutting as well. Obviously, we all pretty much know this, but just your thumb moves as well. And I typically don't bob when I'm going into pointing. I tend to just work like that because I find that actually you won't cut yourself if you actually just bob that. If you actually just work on this shape and actually just work through. I'm just taking all of the hair up now. I'm lifting all of this hair up, lifting it up and over. And what this is going to do, it's going to eliminate any of the weight from underneath. So I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to point this through. And that's going to really help to sit that flatter So when the disconnection sits over the top, it's more like a smoother effect as well. Yeah, that's cool. That's great. I'm just going to refine my line underneath as well. And I think this is still a little bit heavy here at the front as well, so I'm just going to go in slightly lower. Oh, excuse me. Here. I want to soften the edge. Again, I don't want it too, so I want more of a contemporary look as well. So again, I'm just going through and just really nicely and very delicately going through and tailoring these edges and checking the front sections as well. And again, it gives me a chance to soften those out. And again, what I'm going to do is just elevate this slightly higher at a rounded angle. And you get this point anyway, because remember, we pulled everything back. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to soften the angle just slightly, just because I want to create something more salon friendly and a bit more contemporary. Yeah, it's really cool. So now when I release this disconnection, you'll see it actually sits much more over it. I'm going to show you as well. So the shape now goes back heavier as well, because we've got this lighter shape underneath and this section that sits over it. So you can actually ruffle it, and look, it disturbs the line. So it disturbs, can you please share your scissors? Yeah, do you know these aren't my actual usual scissors? These are a company called Surgicorp. I can send anybody the link. These are about, I can't catch the light there actually, let's see if we can get the light. Oh, no. Surgicorp, anyway. Yeah, they're really cool. I use these to cut blockheads with, because they blunt the scissors really, really easy. And these were about 30 quid. But my actual scissors, I'm just going to grab them. Well, I've got many, as I'm sure many of you will already know. These are all my scissors, my babies. But my actual real scissors are my wings, which I've had for years and years and years. So these are the ones I actually use on clients. Super small, super precision as well. They were £400. So there's a bit of a price difference from like 40 to 400. But hey, these are really cool. These are really cool scissors for working on blockheads as well. In fact, my mate Mark, who's a hairdresser, I just got him to get some as well. So I was just like, you know, it's really, really cool. So what I'm going to do now with this disconnection through here is I'm now going to take it and I'm just going to assess to see how it moves over the hair. So what we're finding is now it's very, very groomed like this, but the moment that I provoke the hair and provoke the shape, it starts to like disturb it, because it creates like interesting sort of movement and focal points. I do feel though, however, it's a little heavy. So what I'm just going to go through, I'm just going to lift it up, assess to see what we've created, and I'm going to cut a line from short to long. This is the weight in the disconnection here. So I'm just going to lift this right up, over, and I'm just going to make small incisions and cut a line from short to long. That'll just take that excess weight out. And again, and I'm just going to go through once more. I'm just going to see what I've created. And I'm inspecting it as well, you know. I need to inspect what I've done. And it's just very, very small incisions. Wow, I can't see that at all. I'm way too close. So yes, that's really cool. And then what I want to do is check to see how it reacts with the back, because this is the back, and remember that's the front shape. So I also want to see how it reacts into the back. So what I want to do is create some sort of, again, sharp angle through here. And I just want to sort of, on a very, very sharp line, just sort of create some visual connection through this shape. So even though it's disconnected now, we know it blends through as well. And it's just going to give us this really sort of interesting movement as well when provoked. And do the same on the opposite side, and then I'm actually going to style it out. I'm just going to really style it for you to show you the beauty of what I've created, because it's quite difficult for me to show you that sometimes on camera, because obviously you don't see what I see as well, because you see it in the two-dimensional world and I see it in the three. So again, texture sometimes, especially on a dark base as well. So what I'm going to do, this is the undercut. This is the undercut here. I'm just elevating this up and out. Again, up and out. And then what I'm going to do is just really soften that line through. As well, and I do want to create like a softer shape. I only use pointing as like a last method. I only point hair when I know no other technique is going to work, because pointing disrupts shapes as well, and that's not necessarily always a good thing. But I actually now want to create something a little bit more distressed in the texture that I've got here as well, and I'm just working through this back section too. And again, just sort of tailoring it as I go. You saw that mark was on as well. And again, even though we created an over-directed flat layer, which is what it is, this is what you're seeing right now, an over-directed flat layer, I'm going to round the corner slightly here as well. So I'm just going to elevate this up and through into the front hairline. It won't disturb the overall perimeter length, but what it'll do, it'll just help blend everything in as well. I'm going to check the perimeter as well, and again, I'm using you guys as the mirror here as well. I'm much happier with that shape. I'm refining this line underneath. Yeah, it's great. Let's just say, yeah, it's cool as well. And then finally, you get your disconnected section through here as well, and you can see it's quite heavy again. You know, if you just look at the difference, that's before refinement and that's after refinement. Can you see that look flatter, sleeker, smoother, more in harmony with the remainder of the haircut? This is why you have to take it a step-by-step and considered approach, because it's not just a case of randomly cutting bits in because, oh, I'm creative, you know, and I'm fabulous. We've actually got to really think, hang on a second, does this actually work? Will this work? How will she style it as well? I know it's really cool thinking, oh yeah, great, we're going to like those cut bits, but no. Alright, so again, I've got my weight here, high elevation, and again, just cut this up and over. And I move my fingers as I cut the section as well. How many quizzes is there on pivot point? As I could only find one. There should be two. Hi, Megan. There should be two. Quiz number 1, which is classic cutting quiz. And then there should be a contemporary cutting quiz as well. If you can't find them, DM me your email and I can always send them over as well. But yeah, so that's in the Introduction to Classic, Contemporary and Creative Cutting course. That's on there as well. We can see, I hope that answers your question. And if you get stuck, just DM me. I'll help you, I'll send you links. So we can see that's the disconnection. That's the back haircut, that's the graduation. And again, I'm going to tilt that angle much more steeper. And I'm just going to blend this up. So we only leave with like certain points of the head disconnected. As well. Just going to go through and do a little bit of pointing just through this top. Just to soften it. Because I want to create some, again, a little bit more contemporary. Okie dokie, I'll go on. Oh yeah, that's great. Fabulous, glad you're having a go at the quizzes. Love that. We do spend a lot of time creating all these lovely courses for you. Hope you're enjoying them. Getting your certificates as well. So it's great for your portfolio, guys. You know, to have extra certificates. I'm doing a course at the moment, an online course. I'm doing an online course at Scissor. In fact, actually, while my colour was processing, when I was tinting these, I was watching one of the classes as well. So we're always learning as hairdressers, and that's what's so great about our industry. So yeah, I've been doing the Scissor courses this week online, and I love them. I'm stealing lots of their ideas, like this one. I learned this one last week, although I did know how to do this beforehand. Please don't think I'm just learning cuts and then getting on here and then teaching you guys. I do actually kind of know what I'm doing. Cool. Just going to give it a final once over to see what I've created and how it's all looking as well. Just going to go through this back and a little bit of pointing just through this to sharpen it up. That's great. Great. Thanks, honey. Thank you. That's great. So, again, I'm just going to show you. I'm just obviously going in just... I did wrap dry it, and I told you before I was having a little bit of difficulty with the overall finish of this block because it's not woven, stitched onto the scalp too great on this side, but it was okay on this side, so I had to really straighten it and everything as well. So your options are, I'm just gonna lift this right up as well, just so everyone can see as well, and she's really in the light now. Your options are to wear this very, very smooth. So let's just say, for example, she works in an office environment during the week and she could wear a really smooth bob as well. Very, very nice, very smooth, very elegant. She could even part this over to one way. She could wear partings in because this fringe is long enough to be pushed away and parted, but this would be sort of her day look really as well, working through. Here is where the disconnection lies, but what's really great, you can't see it when it's styled in a smooth and sleek look, like so. So again, I'll just show you the back as well. So again, the back, this really smooth, sort of nice bob, kind of sort of working very softly into that hairline through to the opposite side, and like so. But I'm going to show you a product right now. I'm just going to grab it actually, it's in my kit bag. I'm going to use Style on Steroids by Colour Wow. Some of you guys know. Would you have to use mini straighteners on this hairstyle or just normal ones? Thanks, Megan. Really good question, actually. Thank you. I use normal ones. I actually use the work ones, the hair tools ones, the ones that we have at Michael John. Just basic hair tools ones. There's nothing really special about these straighteners, but they do work. They're very good. Yeah, they're really great. I love them. But you could use mini straighteners. That would give you a super flat look as well, but it's not always optional. I wouldn't use a large straightener on it. Good question, thank you, from Styling Front. So we've got this really super smooth, super sleek look as well, and then let's just say we wanted to change it. I'm going to use some Style on Steroids by Colour Wow. It's one of my favourite products because it's so super versatile as well. I'm going to give it a really good shake, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray it all in. So obviously you'd cover the face, and then what I can start to do is disrupt the texture in there as well. So just going through and just spraying that out. And then what we can do, we can create a totally different look. That's a lot more contemporary. So I'm just going in there and I'm just really spraying it through as well. And what I'm going to do is just create the texture that I want. And then again, what I can start to do is with these pieces, you can wear them out. I'm going to do this side out, so I'm just going to take my fingers, push back on themselves, and then create this like really textured bob. So what it actually does, it actually creates these like textured pieces that will sit outside of the length as well. So you've got this like really super look as well, like super textured. So I'm going to put a bit more on actually, because it's so soft. I used some like damage conditioner on it as well. Maybe I should have not conditioned it, but never mind. As well, and again, you can just sort of really take those pieces and accentuate them through as well, and then just work through as well. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to, as a second look, just actually use the straighteners on it now. Again, and just create this sort of like different kind of look. So this will be more of a rocky kind of look, you know, she's going out, she wants to create something a little bit different as well. I'm just going to take the straighteners on it, and I'm going to use the product in it, and I'm going to push it back onto itself as well. So again, so I've got the straighteners switched on my trolley, on my desk here. Again, all I'm going to do is just take from underneath the section, and I'm just going to work it through like that. you can also take the straighteners and push them back onto themselves like that. Texture spray, yeah, it's a texturizing spray. Style on steroids is really amazing. It's like my new latest discovery. It does everything and anything as well. So again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these sections and I'm just pushing them back on themselves like that with the straighteners. So the straighteners are switched on, and then what I do is then go back down onto itself, and it creates this really interesting, like, disturbed texture as well. And again, this product can be used over top of heat as well. So I'm just going through and I'm just sort of really creating this kind of like crazy look as well. Not too crazy as well. And what this is going to help do, it's going to create this really super mega like textured shape. This is really great for anyone who doesn't really have any texture in the hair as well, because you can help sort of get that like very grungy kind of like texture through it as well. It's cool. That's great. So yeah, again, what we've done there is created something a lot more sort of dishevelled as well. I'm going to actually probably turn the camera around and show you as well. Oh, she's full of hair as well. But again, it sort of helps create these kind of like shapes through here. Let me show you. Is this classed as avant-garde? I'd say it was more like salon commercial, because again we've got like a really super like commercial look. Like it's very smooth, it's very sleek. But then if you just provoke the texture, you get these really interesting layers of disconnection through there as well. So again, like just by working like that, which we wouldn't get if we didn't have these little bands of disconnection through. So you could see, if you styled it in that way, it could definitely be avant-garde. Absolutely. As well. But again, it's just using disconnection in a really intelligent way as well. I'm actually going to show you. I'm going to pick you up now. I'm going to turn you around. Oh, we're on a journey. So as well, you can see... it's a much better angle. As well. Oh, I think I'll put her next to the head sheet, shall we? So that was the head sheet as well, guys. So you can see. These are the disconnected shapes that sit underneath this layered bob. Sit over the top, sorry, of this layered bob. And again, all I've done is just with the straighteners is provoked them into the shape as well. And you can see it really gives this kind of like look. I'm just trying to gauge a good angle as well. But what I'm going to probably do is give you... Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, cool. Yeah, amazing. That's cool. Right, let's put you back. Hi. Ooh, too close. Cool, guys. So I'm just going to recap. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, as well. So again, so it's just about creating this like really cool shape. And you know what you could even do with these guys? They could actually be, you could do a top knot on this. So like if you wanted to top knot it as well, because these sections are longer, so it would still top knot. So if you wanted to create something like that, like a little bit different, or even if you wanted to use these to create something like really stacked over, that's also really cool. Or like use this piece to like brush the hair over to one side. I kind of like that as well. Actually, I really like that. So like again, use this disconnected piece to think, well, I'm going to hide the fringe as well. So that's kind of cool as well. I'm celebrating your amazing haircut. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. It's so sweet. Thanks, guys. As well, yeah. So again, just like use these sections. You know, if this was editorial, if I was shooting this haircut, I'd want to really accentuate, you know, that really. I'd want to accentuate this kind of movement through there and accentuate this movement, the softness versus the heavy, you know what I mean? And that juxtaposition between the two as well. Cool. Okay, guys, I'll do a little video and I'll put it on the story so you can see it in different lights as well, because it's sometimes struggle to see it on the live. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock, we're doing a creative haircut. I might do a long shape. I've just been seeing something on my course that I think I want to bring to you guys. It'd be so cool as well. Working on something a bit curly, which would be kind of cool as well. But we'll see. I need to get inspired yet. So tomorrow is creative cutting. We've got a course on quiz on pivot point. And then we've got a head sheet assignment as well. And then you've completed the course as well. And you'll get your little mini certificate. Okie doke, guys. Lovely to see you all. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, thanks, son. And I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Tomorrow at 4 as well, and there'll be some story content to share. So keep on the lookout. Bye guys. Say bye. Bye. See you soon. Take care.